Good morning, students. In the last lecture, we have studied about the semi-conservative mode of DNA replication. Now, the time to study the machinery and enzymes of the DNA replication. In living cells such as E. coli, the process of replication requires a set of catalysts that are enzymes. The main enzyme is referred to as DNA dependent DNA polymerase since it uses a DNA template to catalyze the polymerization of deoxynucleotide. These enzymes are highly efficient enzymes as they have to catalyze polymerization of large number of nucleotides in a very short time. E. coli that has only 4.6 into 10 to the power 6 base pairs with compared to human which have 6.6 into 10 to the power 9 base pairs. It completes the process of replication within 18 minutes. That means the average rate of polymerization has to be approximately 2000 base pair per second. Not only do these polymerases have to be fast, but they have to catalyze the reaction with a high degree of accuracy. Any mistake during replication would result into mutation. Furthermore, energetically replication is a very expensive process. Deoxyribonucleosides triphosphate serves dual purposes. In addition to acting as a substrate, they also provide energy for polymerization reaction as in ATP. In addition to DNA dependent DNA polymerases, many additional enzymes are required to complete the process of replication with high degree of accuracy. For long DNA molecules, since the two strands of DNA cannot be separated in its entire length, the replication occur within a small opening of the DNA helix, which is referred to as replication fork. See, DNA dependent DNA polymerases can act in the both direction. So both the strands of DNA are replicated, but they again and again coil with the each other. क्योंकि उनका helical structure है, they again and again coil. So to stop this uncoiling, a replication fork-like structure is made. DNA dependent DNA polymerase catalyzes polymerization only in one direction, 5' to 3'. This creates an additional complication because DNA have the strands in the opposite direction, one in the direction of 3' to 5'. That is okay, that will act as a template. But the other which is already in 5' to 3' direction, in that case DNA polymerase have to polymerize the strand in the reverse manner, and that causes the DNA replication and the formation of new strand in the form of fragments. So we get one continuous strand and the other discontinuous strand. The discontinuously synthesized fragments are later joined by enzyme DNA ligase. The DNA polymerases on their own cannot initiate the process of replication. Also, replication does not initiate randomly at any place in DNA. There is a definite region in E. coli DNA where the replication originates. Such region are termed as origin of replication. We can see the replication here more clearly. First of all, the DNA starts uncoiling and the base pairs start separating from each other by the action of enzyme helicase. The helicase starts separating the both strands of DNA, making a replication fork. As the replication of that portion is over, helicase moves ahead, making the another replication fork. Then a primase enzyme acts and forms a RNA primer. This primer provides the stage for the binding of the DNA polymerase. DNA polymerase comes and binds where the primer is attached. After that, DNA starts replicating by the DNA polymerase. DNA polymerase added the bases nucleotides opposite to the nucleotides as present in the template strand. This strand continues and hence known as leading strand. But the another strand of the DNA, a primer is attached and the polymerase comes, DNA polymerase, and forms the strand. But as the replication fork goes ahead, the primer again is formed and again the fragment is made by the DNA polymerase. So this strand is discontinuous. It is made in the fragments known as Okazaki fragments, and this discontinuous strand is known as lagging strand. After the replication of whole DNA, we obtain two strands known as lagging strand and leading strand. Also, the primers are removed with the help of exonuclease enzyme. Again, that portion is repaired by DNA polymerase. This way, two fragments of DNA are formed and the Okazaki fragments are joined together with the help of DNA ligase, so that we have the two DNA molecules, each with one old and one new molecule. It is because of the requirement of the origin of replication that a piece of DNA, if needed to be propagated during recombination DNA procedure, requires a vector. Vector provides the origin of the replication. Further, not every detail of replication is understood well. In eukaryotes, the replication of DNA takes place at the S phase of the cell cycle. The replication of the DNA and the cell division should be highly coordinated. Because of failure in the cell division after DNA replication results into polyploidy. We will learn this in more detail in higher classes. This is the replication fork which represents one template strand, that is 3' to 5', one another strand 5' to 3'. Clear? Now we know that DNA polymerase polymerizes in 5' to 3' section. So one is a continuous synthesis and another is the discontinuous synthesis. The next process that we have to understand is transcription. The process of copying genetic information from one strand of DNA into the RNA is termed as transcription. Machinery, enzymes, and the procedure level, if we see, it resembles the replication. The only difference is in replication, DNA is formed from DNA, while in transcription, RNA is formed from DNA. Here also the principle of complementarity governs the process of transcription, except the adenosine complements new forms base pair with uracil instead of thymine. However, unlike in the process of replication, which once set in, the total DNA of an organism gets duplicated. In transcription, only a segment of DNA and only one of the strand is copied into RNA. So these are the major differences between the replication and transcription. These necessities define the boundaries that would demarcate the region and the strand of DNA that would be transcribed. Why both the strands are not copied during the transcription? Because while transcripting the strands of the DNA, we use ribonucleotides, correct? So if we use the both strands, result of both the strands will be different, because A pairs with T. So in the strand with A, in the RNA it will be U, but the strand having T will give a nucleotide in the RNA. Hence, the nucleotides differ from the both strands. First, if both strands act as template, they would code for RNA molecule with the different sequences because they are complementary. And in turn, if they code for protein, the sequence of amino acid in the protein would be different. Hence, one of the segment of the DNA would be coding for two different proteins, and this would complicate the DNA information transfer machinery. Second, the two RNA molecules, if produced simultaneously, would be complementary to each other. Hence, they will join and form a double-stranded RNA. This would prevent RNA from being translated into protein, and the exercise of transcription would become a futile one. That is, it will be of no use, because if protein is not formed, then there is no need of forming a RNA. Transcription unit is made up of three regions in a DNA: a promoter, structural gene, and a terminator. Let us see these three parts. On a DNA strand, one sequence is promoter sequence, from where the transcription starts. Then comes the structural gene on the template strand, which is meant for the RNA which codes for a protein. And the last sequence is a terminator sequence, which stops the transcription of the template strand. The another one is a coding strand, which has the sequence similar to the RNA that is formed. There is a convention in defining the two strands of DNA in a structural gene of a transcription unit. Since the two strands have opposite polarity and the DNA dependent RNA polymerase also catalyze in the polymerization in only one direction, that is 5' to 3', but both the strands are not available here. The strand that has polarity 3' to 5' will act as a template and hence referred to as a template strand. The other strand which has the polarity similar to the activity of the polymerase is the polarity of 5' to 3', and the sequence is same as the RNA, except thymine at the place of uracil is displaced during the transcription. Strangely, this strand is referred to as coding strand. This does not code for anything, but the coding RNA has the same sequence. All the reference point while defining a transcription unit is made with coding strand. To explain the point, to explain a hypothetical sequence from a transcription unit is represented here. See, the template strand has AT, GC, AT, GC, AT, GC. Okay. The coding strand will have TACG, TACG, TACG. Now, what will be the sequence of the RNA transcribed from the above DNA? It will be transcribed from the template strand. So, it will have UACG, UACG. The promoter and the terminator flank the structural gene in a transcription unit. The promoter is said to be located towards the 5' end, that is upstream the structural gene, while the terminator is located towards the 3' end, that is downstream the structural gene. It is the DNA sequence that provides binding site for RNA polymerase, and it is the presence of the promoter in which transcription unit that defines the template and coding strand. By switching its position with the terminator, the definition of the coding and the template strand could be reversed. The terminator is located towards 3' end downstream of the coding strand, and it usually defines the end of the structural gene and hence end of process of transcription. There are additional regulatory sequences that may be present further upstream or downstream to the promoter. Some of the properties of these sequences shall be discussed while dealing with the regulation of the gene expression. Process of transcription and the other related topics we will study in the next lecture.